I'm finally at a point where I feel like I'm actually doing something, so here's a quick overview. Back in December, I designed this art panel, and then in January, I outlined it with gesso. Alright friends, we are doing something fun today that I've been putting off just because it's been so cold, it's so wet, but the energy is here, and I'm going to be cutting out my wood panel, and I'm taking you along for the ride because who doesn't like watching someone else do hard work, especially with nails? So let's get to it. Quick little montage. All right, we have everything oriented where I feel safe enough to actually start cutting. I have enough clearance over here where I'm not going to be cutting into the table at all. So next up is protective wear, respirator, so I'm not breathing in the wood particulates as they're coming off. And of course, most importantly, glasses, because wood splinters have hit me in the eye, and thank goodness nothing's happened, but don't risk it. Don't risk your eyes or your lungs. Always wear protective gear. Always. So, let's plug in the jigsaw. It looks like it has a blade in it already. It's good to go. And yeah, there's no time like the present just to start cutting things. So, let's do it. I'm not kidding when I say you definitely need to be wearing protective gear when you're cutting wood. As I was cutting into this panel, a lot of the dust was gathering on the surface of it, and it's just amazing how much of it gets generated as you're making these simple cuts. Dust was also blowing out from the filter of my jigsaw, so I'm very glad that my goggles stopped that from entering my eyes. While cutting my panel, I did bend my blade, but thankfully I live near Lowe's, so I was able to buy these blades that are specifically made for cutting curved outlines. Alright, I have a new blade in my jigsaw, so let's get her plugged back in and finish what I can over here, and then rotate the board so I'm not cutting into the table. I also want to point out that look at the surface of my panel. You can see all that dust that's accumulated from all my cuts. That's not only the wood that I'm cutting away, but also the glue that was used to glue the sheets together to create this giant panel. I'm so glad I didn't breathe any of this in. After spending a few hours in the shed, I'm finally done cutting out this panel, and I've started sanding the surface already. To get this panel ready for painting, I need to do a few more layers of gesso and sanding in between, and then I'll finally be able to paint. Stay tuned!